as the transfer window is on now, as the general transfer window is on now, these are a list of players that could possibly leave the club. The first person is Ben Chilwell. Ben Chilwell is a player that Chelsea has been trying to get rid of since the beginning of the season. Since when Enzo Maresca took charge, he said it's not a player that he wants in the squad. It's not the player he believes in. It is when he was trying to sign the players, register the players that he wanted to keep in the squad. That was when he had to add Ben Chilwell to the Premier League squad of the season. And Ben Chilwell has only played 45 minutes in the whole season so far this January. The second person that could leave the club is Kenan Diswe. Kenan Diswe came into the club. He came to the club with Enzo Maresca. He was one of the players that Enzo Maresca brought from Leicester, thinking that the ideology was that he's a player that Chelsea could have, and since he's somebody that knows Enzo Maresca's style, since he played with Enzo Maresca last season and he was the best player in the championship, he would come to Chelsea and do a very good job at Chelsea. But as it turns out, he has not really performed up to par, and he has hardly played games. Majority of the time he has played games in the Conference League or in cup matches. He has not made his stake, and there's a possibility that he might leave this January either on loan or total sale, because there are clubs like one of the clubs that are interested in Kenan is Aston Villa. Another player that could leave the club is Kazari Kasade. Kasade is a young player that Chelsea bought from Inter Milan a couple of seasons ago. He was the captain of the under-20 Italian squad. He's an Italian, and Chelsea, he has struggled this season. Last season he was on loan at Leicester, and he was called back in the middle of the season when Mauricio Pochettino was the manager. Even under Mauricio Pochettino, he could not have a run of games. He has not been able to see football, to start games and play games. Even under Enzo Maresca, he has only started games in the Conference League. He has not had the opportunity to play games in the Premier League. He has not started games in the Premier League, and it's difficult for him to get minutes in the Premier League. So there's a possibility for him to want to go, because most players want to be in an environment where they will get regular first team football. Now, this player has interest from Italian club. There are interest coming from Fiorentina, Genoa. Majority of the interest coming for Casade is in the Italian league. Now, another player that could possibly leave in January transfer window is Kane Chukwuemeka. Kane Chukwuemeka was one of at the beginning of last season under Mauricio Pochettino, he was one of the players that started more games till he got injured after he scored a goal against West Ham in our first game where we lost 3-1 last season. Injury, then he was away for a long time injury, then it was difficult for him to find his way back into the first 11. Even after Enzo Maresca left, even after Mauricio Pochettino left and Enzo Maresca came in, it's still difficult for him to fight for a spot in the first 11, whether in the Premier League or in the Conference League. He has barely even started games, and when he has played games, he has not really been the player that we used to know. So injury might be one of the things that is affecting him. But he also has garnered interest from the Italian league, from clubs like AC Milan. Those are the kind of clubs that are interested in Kane Chukwuemeka. Another player that could possibly leave is Christopher Nkunku. Now, Christopher Nkunku's case is a little bit different, in terms of he's a player that when he came to Chelsea and the Premier League last season, he was a player that Chelsea had a lot of hope on. Then he got injured during the preseason, and he could not play games for a very long time. He had a very, very long injury. I could not play games, so that gave opportunity for Nicolas Jackson to play more regularly and to firm his position in the center, to firm his position as one of Chelsea's attacking threats since last season. Now, after Mauricio Pochettino left, people thinking under Enzo Maresca probably he would get more playing time, and Nkunku has found it difficult to get playing time in the Premier League. He has played more games in cup competitions, and that's the cup competition, that's the EFL Cup and the Conference League. Now, and also the whole issue of his position, where he will play, either he play in the midfield or on the flank, or a second as a striker. But as a striker, it's going to be a second fiddle to Nicolas Jackson. As a 10th position, it's going to be a second fiddle to Cole Palmer, and Joao Felix are already in those positions. On the left flank, where he could also possibly play, it's going to be a second fiddle to Jordan Sancho. So player of that quality would not want to stay in a club where he's not starting game and playing regular team football. So there's a possibility that he might want to leave. But the reports are saying that Chelsea will block any possible sale for him this January, as they intend to keep the player at the club this season. Now, another player that could possibly leave is also Axel Disasi. Now, Axel Disasi is a very funny situation. Last season, he played more games for Chelsea last season as a centre back position under Mauricio Pochettino. A lot of fans feel that he's not a very good defender, and they're not happy with his input or what they've seen from him. Under Enzo Maresca, he has not played games in the Premier League. He has mostly played games in the Conference League or in cup competition or in the EFL Cup. That's his cup competitions, and he has mostly played at the right back position for Chelsea. But his main position is the centre back. But he can play also at the right back. So he might be a player that might possibly leave to go and get more regular first team football. Clubs that are interested in my clubs like Juventus, that's one of the clubs that are interested in Axel Disasi. So or clubs in the French league. So there's a possibility that he might leave in this January transfer window. So look at this space.